The Forbidden Fleet. The emergency beacon cut through space like a scream in the darkness. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the TDF Relentless, watching the red warning lights flash across her tactical display. Around her, the other ships of the Terran Defense Fleet hung in formation, their crews waiting for orders that might never come. "Commander, we're receiving a direct transmission from the Galactic Peacekeeping Alliance," reported Lieutenant Marcus Webb from the communications station. His voice carried the tension that had gripped the entire fleet for the past 3 hours. Sarah nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the main screen. "Put it through, Marcus." The face that appeared belonged to Alliance Admiral Korthax, a tall being with blue-scaled skin and 4 arms. His species, the Zenthari, had been part of the galactic community for over 5,000 years. Right now, he looked exhausted and desperate. "Commander Chen," Korthax began, his voice translator converting his native language into crisp English. "The situation in the Outer Rim has deteriorated beyond our worst projections. The Void Hunters have destroyed 17 colonies in the past week. They're moving toward the core worlds." Sarah leaned forward in her command chair. The Void Hunters were a nightmare that had emerged from the dark spaces between galaxies. They consumed everything in their path, turning peaceful worlds into lifeless husks. No one knew where they came from or what they wanted, only that they left nothing but death behind. "Admiral, the Terran Defense Fleet stands ready to assist," Sarah said firmly. "We have 200 ships fully armed and crewed. Our Marines are trained for boarding actions and our pilots know how to fight." Korthax's expression shifted, becoming uncomfortable. "Commander, I appreciate the offer, but the Alliance Council has made its decision regarding human participation in this conflict." The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. "Sir, humanity has been a member of the galactic community for only 50 years, Korthax explained. "Your species' history of warfare and aggression is well documented. The Council believes that human military methods are too extreme for peacekeeping operations." Captain Elena Rodriguez, commander of the destroyer TDF Vengeance, appeared on Sarah's communication panel. Her face was flushed with anger. "Commander, are you hearing this? They're telling us we're too dangerous to help them fight literal monsters?" Sarah held up a hand, keeping her own voice steady. "Admiral Korthax, with respect, the Void Hunters aren't going to be stopped by peaceful negotiations. They've shown no interest in communication or compromise. Sometimes you need warriors to fight monsters. The Alliance has protocols for dealing with hostile forces," Korthax replied. "We follow the Galactic Accords on civilized warfare. Our methods may take longer, but they preserve the moral foundations of our society." "And how well are those protocols working against the Void Hunters?" asked Captain James Park from the heavy cruiser TDF Defiant. Korthax was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper. "We've lost 60% of our fleet in the past month." The bridge of the Relentless fell silent. Sarah looked around at her crew, seeing the same mixture of frustration and disbelief on every face. Lieutenant Webb shook his head in disgust, while Tactical Officer Ana Vasquez clenched her fists at her station. "Admiral," Sarah said carefully, "what if we operated independently? We could patrol the border systems, provide early warning of Void Hunter movements. We wouldn't interfere with Alliance operations." "Absolutely not," Korthax said quickly. "The Council was very specific. Human warships are to remain in Terran space for the duration of this crisis. Any violation of this directive will result in immediate sanctions against Earth." The transmission ended, leaving Sarah staring at a blank screen. Around her, the bridge, crew exchanged angry glances. These were men and women who had joined the defense fleet to protect innocent lives, and now they were being told to sit on the sidelines while genocide swept across the galaxy. "Commander," said Chief Engineer Tommy Sullivan, a grizzled veteran who had served on Earth's first interstellar vessels. "Permission to speak freely?" "Go ahead, Chief." "This is bullshit." Sullivan's Irish accent grew thicker when he was angry. "We've got the finest ships and the best crews in known space, and they want us to sit here with our thumbs up our asses while people die." Sarah understood his frustration because she felt it too. The Terran Defense Fleet was humanity's pride and joy. Their ships were fast, heavily armed, and crewed by people who understood that sometimes violence was the only answer to violence. They had spent decades preparing for exactly this kind of threat. "Chief, watch the language," she said, but her heart wasn't in the reprimand. Over the next several hours, reports continued to pour in from the front lines. The Alliance fleet was fighting bravely, but they were losing. Their tactics were predictable, their formations rigid, and their rules of engagement too restrictive. The Void Hunters, meanwhile, fought with savage efficiency, using ramming attacks, suicide runs, and swarm tactics that the Alliance had never encountered. Dr. Lisa Chang, the fleet's senior xenobiologist, joined Sarah on the bridge as another batch of casualty reports arrived. "The Alliance forces are fighting the Void Hunters like they're a conventional enemy," she observed. "But everything we've learned suggests these creatures operate on pure predatory instinct." "Meaning?" Sarah asked. "Meaning they don't follow rules or honor codes. They attack weak points, they use overwhelming force, and they don't leave survivors. The Alliance is trying to fight a wolf pack with ballroom dancing techniques." Lieutenant Webb looked up from his station. "Commander, I'm picking up multiple distress signals from the Kepler sector. It sounds like another colony world is under attack." Sarah moved to the tactical display, watching as red icons representing Void Hunter ships appeared near the planet Kepler 7. The world was home to 3 million beings from dozens of different species, all of them now facing extinction. "Where's the nearest Alliance fleet?" she asked. "Admiral Korthax's task force is 6 hours away," Webb reported. "The local defense ships are already engaged, but they're heavily outnumbered." Sarah watched the tactical display update in real time. The Kepler 7 defense fleet consisted of 8 light cruisers and 2 destroyers, all built according to Alliance specifications. They were facing over 30 Void Hunter vessels, including several massive dreadnoughts that could crush the defenders with ease. The battle lasted 43 minutes. When it was over, Kepler 7 had gone silent, and 10 Alliance ships had been reduced to floating debris. 3 million lives had been snuffed out while the most powerful human fleet in history sat helpless in space, forbidden to intervene. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled over the intercom. "Sarah, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep watching people die because some alien politicians think we're too scary to help." "Elena's right," added Captain Park. "My crew is ready to mutiny if we don't do something soon. These are good people who signed up to protect innocent lives." Sarah looked out at the stars, thinking about the colonies that had already fallen, and the ones that would fall next. The Alliance meant well, but their civilized approach to warfare was getting people killed. Sometimes, she reflected, civilization was a luxury that innocent people couldn't afford. Her communication panel chimed with an incoming message. The sender was marked as unknown, but the encryption pattern was familiar. It was the type used by Alliance ships in extreme emergencies. "This is Captain Voss of the Alliance cruiser." "Harmony," came a weak voice through the static. "We're trapped in the Vega system. The Void Hunters have surrounded us. They're jamming our communications, but I'm hoping this message gets through." Sarah's blood ran cold. The Vega system was deep in Alliance space, far from any human territory. If the Void Hunters had penetrated that far, the entire Galactic government was in danger. "We have 18 ships and 6,000 crew members," Voss continued. "The Void Hunters are toying with us, picking us off one by one. Admiral Korthax is dead. His flagship was rammed by 3 Void Hunter destroyers an hour ago." The bridge fell silent. Korthax had been a good man, even if his superiors were fools. His loss would be felt throughout the Alliance. "I know the Council forbade human participation in this war," Voss went on, his voice growing weaker. "But if anyone is listening, if any human ships are out there, please, we need help. The Alliance fleet is broken. Our tactics don't work against these monsters. We're going to die here unless someone intervenes." The message ended, leaving Sarah staring at the communication panel. Around her, the bridge crew waited for her decision. She could feel their eyes on her, knowing that whatever she chose next would define not just her career but potentially the fate of the galaxy itself. "Commander," Lieutenant Webb said quietly, "the Vega system is 18 hours away at maximum speed. If we left now, We'd be violating direct orders from the Alliance Council, Sarah finished. We'd be risking sanctions against Earth, maybe even war. But we'd be saving 6,000 lives, added Dr. Chung. Sarah looked around the bridge, one more time, meeting the eyes of each crew member. These people had followed her across the galaxy, trusting in her judgment and leadership. They deserved better than to sit helplessly while good people died. She activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Commander Chen. Set course for the Vega system, maximum speed. We have Alliance personnel in distress and we're going to help them. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the fleet, engines roared to life as 200 human warships turned toward their destination. The crews cheered, finally given the chance to do what they had trained their entire lives to do. As the Relentless jumped to hyperspace, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Alliance had wanted to keep human warships out of the battle, but sometimes the universe had other plans. The Void Hunters were about to learn what happened when they threatened people under the protection of Earth's children. The real war was about to begin. When monsters hunt, send wolves, the hyperspace jump to the Vega system took 16 hours at maximum burn. During that time, Commander Sarah Chen transformed her fleet from a peacekeeping force into an instrument of war. The Alliance had rules about civilized combat, but the Void Hunters had already proven they didn't follow rules. Neither would humanity. All department heads to the briefing room, Sarah announced as the Relentless dropped out of hyperspace. Through the main viewports, the Vega system stretched before them, but something was wrong. The normally busy shipping lanes were empty, and the system's 2 inhabited worlds showed no signs of orbital traffic. In the briefing room, Sarah's senior staff gathered around the tactical display. Captain Rodriguez from the Vengeance appeared via hologram, along with Captain Park from the Defiant. Chief Engineer Sullivan cracked his knuckles while Dr. Chang reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Here's what we know, Sarah began, highlighting areas of the tactical map. The Alliance fleet is trapped in the asteroid belt between Vega 4 and 5. They've taken heavy casualties, but they're still fighting. The Void Hunters have them surrounded and are systematically destroying them. How many bogies are we looking at? Asked Captain Rodriguez. Lieutenant Webb consulted his data pad. Long-range sensors show approximately 80 Void Hunter vessels, including several super dreadnoughts. They're arranged in a classic siege formation, staying just outside effective weapons range and picking off Alliance ships one by one. Captain Park frowned. 80 ships? We're outnumbered almost 2 to 1. Numbers don't win battles, Chief Sullivan growled. Tactics do, and from what I've seen, these Void Hunter bastards fight like animals. That's exactly right, Dr. Chang added. I've been analyzing their combat patterns from previous engagements. They rely on overwhelming force and intimidation. They're not used to facing opponents who fight back with equal aggression. Sarah nodded. Which brings us to our advantage. The Alliance has been fighting a defensive war, trying to minimize casualties and follow proper protocols. We're going to fight an offensive war, designed to inflict maximum damage in minimum time. She activated a new display showing the human fleet formation. We're going to split into 3 groups. Captain Rodriguez will take the fast attack ships and hit their flanks. Captain Park will take the heavy cruisers and engage their main line. I'll take the remaining ships and punch straight through their center to reach the Alliance survivors. That's insane, Captain Park said, but he was smiling. I love it. The key is speed and aggression, Sarah continued. We hit them fast, we hit them hard, and we don't give them time to adapt. These creatures are predators, but they've been hunting sheep. Time to show them what happens when they try to hunt wolves. The attack began at Ordon 800 ship time. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, weapons charged and targeting systems locked. The Void Hunters, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of 200 warships, scrambled to respond. Captain Rodriguez struck first. Her squadron of destroyers and frigates swept in from the system's edge, their guns blazing. The Void Hunter ships on the perimeter found themselves under attack from multiple directions simultaneously, their rigid formations shattered by the speed and violence of the human assault. This is Vengeance Leader, Rodriguez reported over the tactical net. We've engaged the enemy flanks. These things are tough, but they don't maneuver worth a damn. We're carving them up out here. Meanwhile, Captain Park's heavy cruisers engaged the main Void Hunter battle line. The enemy ships were larger and more heavily armed, but the human vessels fought with a coordination that the aliens couldn't match. They concentrated their fire, targeted weak points, and used their superior tactical mobility to stay one step ahead of their opponents. Defiant to all ships? Park's voice crackled through the comm system. Focus fire on Grid 77 Alpha. That big ugly bastard is their command ship. Take it down and the rest might scatter. Sarah led the central assault group straight into the heart of the enemy formation. The Void Hunters tried to close ranks, but the human ships punched through, their lines like bullets through paper. The Relentless and her escorts carved a path of destruction through the alien fleet, their weapon systems working at maximum efficiency. "Commander," Lieutenant Webb reported, "I'm picking up Alliance IFF signals ahead. The survivors are holding position near Asteroid Cluster 12. Sarah could see them now on the main screen. 18 battered Alliance ships, their hulls scarred by battle damage, clustered together in a defensive formation. They were firing at any Void Hunter that came too close, but their weapons were running low on power and their shields were failing. "This is Commander Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet," Sarah broadcast on Alliance frequencies. "We're here to get you out." The response came immediately. "Commander, this is Captain Voss of the Harmony. Thank the stars you came. We've been holding out for hours, but we can't last much longer." "Roger that, Captain. Form up on my ships and prepare for emergency jump to hyperspace." But the Void Hunters weren't going to let them leave easily. A massive dreadnought, easily twice the size of any human ship, moved to block their escape route. Its weapons began charging, energy building along its hull like a storm about to break. "All ships concentrate fire on that dreadnought," Sarah ordered. "We need to clear a path." The combined firepower of 50 human ships focused on the alien vessel. Energy beams and kinetic projectiles slammed into its hull, but the massive ship kept coming. Its own weapons fired and the space around the human fleet erupted in explosions. The destroyer TDF Courage took a direct hit and vanished in a ball of plasma. The cruiser TDF Stalwart lost her port engines and began to spin out of control. But the human ships kept fighting, their crews pouring everything they had into the battle. "It's not enough," Captain Park reported. "That thing's got too much armor. We need a new approach." Sarah looked at the tactical display, her mind racing. The dreadnought was powerful, but it was also slow and clumsy. Like all Void Hunter ships, it relied on brute force rather than finesse. "Chief Sullivan," she called to her engineer, "how long would it take to overload our main reactor?" Sullivan's eyes widened. "Commander, are you thinking what I think you're thinking? The Relentless is the fastest ship in the fleet. If we ram that dreadnought at full speed with an overloaded reactor, we'd blow a hole in it big enough to fly a battleship through," Sullivan finished. "But we'd be vaporized in the process." "Not if we evacuate the crew first," Sarah said. "The Alliance ships can pick up our people while we make our run." Before anyone could object, a new voice cut through the communication system. It belonged to Captain Voss of the Alliance cruiser Harmony. "Commander Chen, we've been monitoring your tactical frequencies. If you're planning a ramming attack, you should know that Alliance protocols specifically forbid such actions. It's considered a violation of civilized warfare." Sarah almost laughed. "Captain Voss, with respect, the Void Hunters don't care about your protocols. They're trying to commit genocide. Sometimes the only way to stop a monster is to become one yourself. But there has to be another way. Some solution that doesn't require sacrifice." "There is," Sarah replied. "You can die quietly and hope they get bored. But that's not how humans operate." She opened a channel to her crew. "All hands, this is the commander. Prepare for immediate evacuation. We're going to ram that dreadnought and clear a path for the Alliance survivors. It's been an honor serving with all of you." But then something unexpected happened. The crew of the Relentless refused to leave their posts. "Commander," Chief Sullivan said over the intercom, "the crew has voted. We're staying. If you're going down with the ship, then so are we." "Chief, That's not an order. That's suicide. No, ma'am. That's what humans do. We don't abandon our friends and we don't leave our enemies standing. Similar reports came from across the ship. The weapons crews stayed at their stations. The engine room staff refused to evacuate. Even Dr. Chang remained at her post in the medical bay. Sarah felt tears forming in her eyes. These people were willing to die not for glory or conquest, but to save beings they had never met from creatures that showed no mercy. All right, she said finally. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. All power to engines, maximum acceleration. Target the Dreadnought's reactor core. The Relentless turned toward the massive alien ship, her engines roaring with power. Behind her, the rest of the human fleet continued to fight, keeping the other Void Hunters busy while their flagship made her final run. But then, at the last possible moment, something incredible happened. The Alliance survivors, led by Captain Voss, moved to intercept the human ship. Commander Chen, Voss broadcast, "Our ships are equipped with enhanced shields designed for asteroid mining. We're going to create a barrier around your ship. You can ram the Dreadnought and survive." "Captain, that's impossible. Your shields can't withstand that kind of impact." "Maybe not alone, but together, with all our ships linking their shield generators, we might just pull it off." Sarah watched in amazement as the 18 Alliance ships moved into formation around the Relentless. Their shields combined into a single massive barrier that surrounded the human vessel like a cocoon of energy. "All Alliance ships link shields now," Voss ordered. "Human ship, you are cleared for ramming speed." The combined fleet, human and alien working together, struck the Void Hunter Dreadnought with the force of a small star. The impact shattered the alien ship's hull and sent shockwaves through the entire battle. The Dreadnought exploded in a chain reaction that took out 6 other Void Hunter vessels. When the explosion cleared, the Relentless was still intact, her hull scarred but unbroken. Around her, the Alliance ships had taken severe damage, but they too had survived. The remaining Void Hunters, seeing their command ship destroyed and facing an enemy that fought with unprecedented coordination, began to retreat. Within minutes, the alien fleet was gone, fleeing back to whatever dark corner of space they had come from. Captain Voss appeared on Sarah's main screen, his face showing a mixture of exhaustion and awe. "Commander Chen, I owe you and your crew an apology. We were wrong to exclude humanity from this war. You've shown us what real soldiers look like." Sarah smiled, looking around her bridge at the crew members who had been willing to die for strangers. "Captain, we've all learned something today. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and sometimes good people have to do terrible things to protect innocent lives. The Alliance Council won't like this," Voss warned. "They'll say we violated every protocol in the book." "Then maybe it's time to write a new book," Sarah replied. "One that acknowledges that sometimes peace requires warriors." As the combined human Alliance fleet prepared to return to civilized space, Sarah received a message from Earth Command. The Galactic Council was demanding explanations, and there would probably be hearings and investigations. But she also received over 100 requests from Alliance commanders throughout the galaxy, all asking for human military advisors and joint training exercises. Word of the victory at Vega had spread, and suddenly everyone wanted to learn how humans fought. The war against the Void Hunters was far from over, but now the galaxy had a chance to win it. They had learned that sometimes, when monsters came, hunting, the only response was to send wolves, and humanity had just shown the galaxy that Earth bred the finest wolves in known space.